Sylvester Stallone had sat through countless interviews in his long bruising career, from late-night hosts poking fun at his slur speech to critics questioning if he was just a dumb muscle man who got lucky. But that morning on The View, something inside him finally snapped. He'd shown up in his crisp suit, ready to promote his new film, a comeback drama meant to remind the world that behind Rocky and Rambo was a real actor with real depth. But Joy Behar wasn't interested in redemption arcs. She came out swinging, bringing up the old stories, the rumored fights on set, the stubborn reputation, the box office bombs, the whispers that Stallone had ghostwriters for his iconic scripts. Stallone's eyes hardened as Joy smirked across the table, cutting him off mid-sentence, her voice dripping with that trademark sarcasm. He tried to deflect with his usual charm, that self-deprecating grin that once won over skeptical journalists. But every time he tried to talk about the craft, about what his new role meant, Joy dragged him back to tabloid headlines. The other co-hosts glanced nervously, sipping coffee, exchanging awkward smiles as the tension grew. Stallone leaned in, his knuckles wide around his mug, his voice dropping to that low, rocky growl. "Do you want to talk about the work, or do you just want cheap shots?" Joy leaned back in her chair, tossed her notes aside, and fired back. "Hey, you built your whole career on cheap shots." The audience gasped. It wasn't the insult that stung. Stallone had heard worse in the ring and on the screen. It was the total disregard for the years he spent fighting for respect, the rewrites, the rejections, the broken bones on set. It was the fact that after 5 decades, some people still saw him as a punchline instead of a pioneer. When Joy made a snide crack about his plastic surgeries, that was it. He slammed his hand on the table, the microphones rattling, his chair scraped back. He stared Joy down with that same look he once gave Apollo Creed. "I don't need this," he growled, his voice calm, but his eyes burning with that old underdog fury. "You want a clown? Find someone else." And with that, Sylvester Stallone, the man who took Hollywood's best hits and kept getting back up, walked off the set. The audience sat in stunned silence. The cameras kept rolling as Joy tried to laugh it off, but even she looked rattled. For once, the man who made a career out of being the punching bag threw the final punch. And for days after, fans and critics alike wondered, was this the moment when Stallone finally proved he was more than a Hollywood heavyweight? He didn't need the chair, the lights, or the cheap questions. He had his dignity, and he'd fight to keep it, even if it meant storming out in front of millions. Subscribe to Hollywood Untold for more emotional stories behind music legends and the feuds that shaped rock history.